Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. My name is Crystal Visti, and I'm here with Danny Thompson, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what is skin cancer and how to prevent it. So what is skin cancer? Well, there's three main types, and skin cancer is the most common cancer in the United States. The three types are basal cell, squamous cell, and melanoma. About 5.4 million basal and squamous cell cancers are diagnosed each year in the United States. And melanomas, the deadliest form, will account for about 76,000 cases of skin cancer. So what exactly is it? Skin cancer is cancer of the epidermis of your skin. The epidermis is the outermost layer, and it's made up of the squamous cell layer and the basal layer found just underneath of it. Melanocytes, found near the hair follicle, are the cells responsible for skin color. Basal and squamous cell cancers are the most common forms. About 8 out of 10 skin cancers are basal cell carcinomas. They tend to grow a little slower. 2 out of 10 skin cancers are cell, and they're more likely to grow in the deeper layers of the skin. Both are found mainly on parts of the body that are exposed to the sun, like your face, ears, necks, and the backs of your hand. These cancers are strongly related to a person's sun exposure, and they're much less likely to spread to other parts of your body and become life-threatening than melanoma.
So then we're going to talk about melanomas. Melanomas are cancers that develop from melanocytes, and like Crystal said, that's what gives the brown pigment to your skin. Melanoma is much less common than the basal and squamous cell skin cancers, but are much more dangerous because they are more likely to spread to other parts of the body if not caught early. They're much more aggressive. And these can occur anywhere on the body, even in areas that are not normally exposed to the sun, but there are some common spots that they do typically start out in. In men, it's the trunk of the body. In women, it's their legs, and the neck and face are also common places. And like the basal and squamous cell skin cancers, if the melanomas are caught very early in the early stage, they can be cured. And according to the Cancer Society, an estimated 10,000 people will die of melanoma this year. Now we're going to talk about some of the causes. Skin cancer occurs when mutation occurs in the DNA of the skin cells. When that mutation does occur, it causes the cells to grow out of control and form a mass of cancer cells. Ultraviolet or UV radiation found in sunlight and the lights and tanning beds cause most of the damage to the DNA in skin cells. Skin cancer can develop on skin that is not usually exposed to the sunlight, however. Next, we're going to talk about some risk factors that do put you at an increased risk for skin cancer. The first one is having fair skin. Having less pigment in your skin provides less protection from damaging UV radiation. But that being said, anybody with any type of skin tone, even people with darker skin tone, can still be susceptible to skin cancer. A history of sunburns. Having had one or more blistering sunburns as a child or teen can increase your risk. Excessive sun exposure. Anyone who spends considerable time in the sun may develop skin cancer, especially if the skin hasn't been protected by sunscreen or clothing. And those who live closer to the equator are also at an increased risk because the sun rays are stronger near the equator. A family history, moles. People who have many moles or abnormal moles are at an increased risk. Abnormal moles are more likely than others to become cancerous. Family history. If one of your parents or siblings have skin cancer, you are also possibly at an increased risk. If you have personal history of skin cancer or precancerous skin lesions, so meaning if you've already had a spot or a mole removed that was either already had cancer in it or was precancerous, you are more likely for it to develop somewhere else. If you have a weakened immune system, and if you've been exposed to radiation, people who have received radiation treatment may be at an increased risk, particularly the basal cell carcinomas. And then we're going to watch a quick video by the Cancer Society that just talks a little bit about the prevention and monitoring of your skin and how to help prevent skin cancer.
To prevent skin cancer, there's a number of things that people can do and change in their own lifestyle. And it's not just not being outside. Certainly no one wants to just stay inside all day. But you can use sunscreen to prevent sunburns. What I tell people, at minimum, you want SPF 30 or above. The incremental benefit from 8 to 30 is huge. So as long as you're using 30 or above, and it has UVA and UVB coverage, then to me, you're using the right sunscreen. But it is hard to use sunscreen correctly. So you got to remember, you got to put it on about 30 minutes before you leave the home. You want to put it on and let it be, and then you have to reapply. For most people, it's about every 2 hours, but some people need it even more often than that. If you're in the water, if you're exercising, you need it more often. I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is they're really great about putting it on before they go, but then you're having fun and all of a sudden it's 6 hours later and you have a sunburn. What I find more effective and easier, frankly, are really what we call barrier methods, which means sun shirts, hats, and just covering up. The other things is just not going to tanning beds, to be honest with you. I mean, tanning beds are intense amount of UVA rays, and that's really what we're trying to prevent. To discuss a little bit about how to monitor your skin, I would suggest, self-exams are actually one of the most effective ways. Paying attention to your moles in your skin, anything that's new, anything that's changing. I think once a month is more than sufficient. If you look at something every day, you won't really see a change. People talk about the A, B, C, Ds, and sometimes E's of melanoma. A is for asymmetry, so an irregular mole. B is for borders, so the borders don't look clear. C is for color, so variations in color within the mole. D is for diameter. If you have a mole that's greater than 5 millimeters, which is about 1/4 of an inch. E is for evolution, so an area that's changing over time. So it may have looked pretty normal and then starts to change. Seeing a dermatologist, especially if you're in that high-risk population, is very important. And even many primary care doctors are actually very good at looking at people's skin and knowing what's abnormal and what's not. Get into the gown. Everyone hates getting into the gown when they go to the doctor's office, but if you don't, no one's going to look and no one's going to see those areas that you might miss on your back and areas that you can't see.
So the A, B, C, D, E's of detecting melanoma will help you determine if your moles are normal or not. If you look at the normal versus melanoma, you can see that the normal mole is symmetrical, while the melanoma is asymmetrical. And a good way to think about this is if you drew a line down the middle of your mole, do both sides match? And your moles should have a smooth, even border, while a melanoma will usually have uneven or scalloped or notched borders. And most normal moles are all one color. Melanomas often have multiple different shades of brown or become red, white, or even blue. Normal moles also usually have a smaller diameter than malignant ones, and melanomas are usually larger than a pencil eraser. Also, normal moles will look the same over time, while melanomas will evolve and often change. So there are some things you can do to prevent skin cancer, melanoma specifically. Remember to wear sunscreen all year round, at least SPF 30, and reapply it every 2 hours. Especially if you're swimming or exercising, remember that that should be done more often. Wear protective clothing like swim shirts with SPF, hats, or sunglasses. Avoid tanning beds and check your skin regularly. Like the video mentioned, once a month is probably sufficient, but become familiar with your body. Remember that your lips, ears need protection too. And if you notice any changes or new symptoms such as itching or bleeding in a mole or a new mole that looks suspicious, make an appointment to have it looked at. So thanks, guys. That was our presentation on skin cancer. I hope you liked it and learned something from it. Wear your sunscreen.